greediness that I felt with some of the vendors that I've worked with, I was thinking that this is so short sighted. There's no way. We could have created a beautiful, long working relationship where you can earn money, I can have business done. But now you close that door entirely because all you've made me feel is how you can extract the most money from me every single day. Hello, namaste, Auntie Zarna here. So excited to have all five Gargs in the house, and today's episode is going to be heated. It's going to be controversial. We're going to get a lot of hate for it. We already know it. We want to know what you think about us, and we want to know what you think about our observations about having spent almost 2 weeks in India. India through the eyes of an NRI family, India through the eyes of kids who are born and raised in America. We're going to get right into it. All five Gargs are in the house. Get ready for this episode. It's going to be sizzling hot. Welcome to the stage, my husband of 26 years, Shalabh Garg, Wall Street veteran, my daughter who recently graduated college, Zoya Garg, my son who is a sophomore in college, Bridge Garg, and my little one, my middle schooler, Veer Garg. So we just spent 10 days in India doing business, promoting our Hulu comedy special, and we saw a lot of things. Good things, bad things, bewildering things, suspicious things. We saw a lot. Who wants to get right into it?
By the way, before you guys start, NRI Zoya is a non-resident Indian, someone who was born and raised in India and living in America or elsewhere outside of India. By the way, just to point out, of the five of us, I am the only one who has spent the first 20 years of my almost 50 years of life in India. Everyone else here has spent a lot less than that, including Zarna, who because she chose it to be that way, but it turned out to be that way, who spent only the first 14 years of her life, 14 or 15 years of her life in India.
But so India has changed a lot.
Yeah, I'm saying that because I know that everyone is going to hate on me because when I reflect and say things, it'll be from the time of early 2000s when I left, late 1990s when I left. But that is the India I remember. What do you want me to do?
And India is very different regionally, right? One thing I learned from a lot of the meetings we were in was that the culture of India changes around every 50 kilometers. So like the clothing, the language, there's no national language of India. Hindi is not the national language of India.
That's true.
Maybe I'm really idiotic, but I thought that the most common spoken language was Hindi. And I actually learned that it is English.
That's kind of true. Like the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land, hears cases in English. And I find that so strange. I just cannot believe that, the National Court of India, the one that is the highest apex court, you need to know English to be able to hear a case because the judges on the bench, they may be from different parts of the country and they needed to have a common language, and that language is English, which means that someone who's from the north of India and doesn't speak English, I don't know how they're supposed to have their case heard.
Well, that was one observation I had, was it seemed that the best jobs were given to the people who had the highest command of English.
Yes. Yeah, because also the best jobs are the biggest companies. They're multinationals. They're often foreign companies with Indian offices or Indian companies that do a lot of business abroad. So either way, you're going to have to be able to speak English and speak it really well.
And in fact, part of the reason the biggest call centers are in India is because people can speak English. Part of the reason that outsourcing works so well the last 25 years is because people can speak English. That's true. And we were a British colony, right, for 200 plus years.
One thing I want to say is that pre-going to India, I feel like I was kind of scared. I think that, Baya, I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like you were a little bit scared too. And I think that once we were there, even though we obviously had a lot of assistance and we had security for part of the trip, I felt very safe. Even in the times when we didn't have security and we had really small amounts of assistance, in the parts of Mumbai, which is where we stayed, that were more modern, I felt really safe. And it kind of felt similar to America in some parts.
Yeah, but you're a boy, Veer. It's not the same as Daadi. How did you feel, Zoya?
I felt safe. I actually felt really safe. Granted, we were mostly in Mumbai, and to be honest, we spent most of our time running business meetings in the hotel. So I will acknowledge that as the case as well. We didn't spend that much time venturing out. Our biggest adventure was that me, Bridge, and Veer went to a mall because we really wanted to just see how people lived their lives on their days off. What did you guys observe from being in the mall?
They have a lot of American stores. From the mall we were at, the stores were stores that I was all familiar with. They had Asics, they had Starbucks, they had everything. That's what I observed.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
Bridge, what about you?
yeah, I thought the mall was super. I thought it was really cool. I thought one thing I observed is that they served a lot more candy and desserts than most malls I've been to. They're very, very. There was like a whole floor which was just candy and desserts, which I did not anticipate, and I'm still a little bit confused. I'm guessing that people buy more desserts in India, are more addicted to candy, maybe, but there were a lot more than the malls I've been to here.
Yeah.
Mm.
One other thing that was really prominent while we were in India that Didi pointed out, is that they are a lot more appreciative of infrastructure than people in America and other countries, because the bridges there, or the sea links they call them, are a very big thing there, and there's new ones being constructed, and a lot of people divide time by pre-sea link and post-sea link, which is something that I thought was really cool. And I also
Yeah.
thought that the infrastructure was generally more beautiful there than it is here.
What?
I don't know about that.
What are you? I mean, the sea link, yes, because
Well,
it's
No,
brand
I think that, or maybe it's just because I'm used to seeing American infrastructure, so it's cool to see something new. But I preferred it over there.
The Sea Link, to be clear, there is one main bridge that has been built in the last year and a half that connects the most prominent suburb, Bandra, to the main city of Mumbai over the sea. And it's called the Sea Link. And the Sea Link is so vital to the productivity of India that nearly every business person they basically spoke about their experiences in the context of this bridge. And so Bridge, Veer, and I were like, wow, in America, we don't talk about the everyday bridges like that. You know, maybe people talk about the Golden Gate Bridge in the context of tourism, but not in the context of, oh yeah, this happened before the Sea Link was built.
because it has changed how you get around in Mumbai for sure. It has changed. I mean, a lot has changed, and then the lot is still the same.
What did you think
And I get
changed
for it.
from?
I get flamed for saying a lot is still the same.
What is the same, Zarna? Tell us.
I mean, women have very few rights.
How did you observe that in 10 days?
I mean, I can tell that the women who are not working are very shy about their opinions, or only offer opinions that perfectly align with the men in their lives. You know, that to me is something that hasn't changed from what I remember 20-30 years ago. But of course, if I say it, then the 5 women who've moved on from it decide to flame me everywhere, because the
But it
women,
didn't stop you from saying it.
yeah, because I'm reporting what I'm seeing, right? Like I'm telling you what I'm seeing with my own eyes. Women are not, yes, there are more independent women today than there were 30 years ago, but overall the picture remains what it is. And even independent women are like the women who work in people's homes and stuff, they are still answerable to the men in their lives, even though they are working and they're making money. And I'm always watching for like what kind of freedom and autonomy they have, and I don't feel like that has changed a lot. The
Do you think
burden
they
of
looked
everything.
up to you?
And by the way, none of this means it's perfect in America, because that's the other thing we're going to get. Well, it's not changed in America either. America has a million problems, and I'm not denying them. This episode is about India, which is what we're talking about.
Mom, you seem a bit angry. Why
Yeah.
you're giving
Yeah,
this?
why are you
Can
angry?
can I ask why?
Because I know I'm going to get hate. I know the minute I talk about women's rights, I start getting hate, because the 4 affluent liberal women in India who have found independence and have found their voice think that because they've moved on, the whole of India has moved on. And
My
I'm
cousin-
trying. Listen, nothing will make me more happy than to see all women all over India move on.
My
I'm
cousin-
just not seeing it. Sorry,
Okay,
go
can
ahead,
I,
Zoe.
can I say something? I don't mean to interrupt. Do you want to continue?
No, go ahead. You already, yeah.
Well,
Go
okay.
ahead.
I just didn't mean to interrupt. Anyways, okay. My cousin, who I haven't seen in years, had a really honest conversation with me about a topic that I was really not expecting. So she got married around like 24, and she's very happily married and very, she has a beautiful family. And she was asking me, Zoya, do you want to get married? And I was like, yeah, that's hopefully part of my plan. And she said, when are you going to do it? She was asking pretty jarring questions. And I said, well, I want to stabilize my
How old is she, Zoya?
She's 38, 40 something, early 40s. And I was just telling her what I wanted out of my career and my business. And so she told me that when she met her now husband, they had a very honest conversation where he said, you cannot work if you want to be a part of my life. And she accepted that. And she said, I will then stay at home with the kids. And they had this very honest conversation about the roles that they would play in their marriage the first week that they started dating. And she was like, I feel very comfortable with the decision I made. And I feel like American women don't seem to understand the sacrifices that you have to make in order to make a marriage work. And that's why most marriages fail in America. I took a lot from that conversation. I mean, what do you guys think of that?
What did you take?
Finish
That, Zoya. What did you take back from that conversation for yourself?
I think she's probably right. I think she's probably right that the reason why marriages struggle is that inherently, in order for it to work, you have to be selfless. And I don't know if our culture is a very selfless culture in that way. I mean, she said, I was going to sacrifice this in order to get this. And
Hold on. I don't think that that's ridiculous at all.
I don't think so either.
I think that being able to have a conversation and an honest communication between two people that are getting more serious to say, if we want to get married, you are going to have to once you're going to have to say, I want to be the primary breadwinner and I want you to stay at home and work. I don't think that's ridiculous at all. But I also don't think it's ridiculous if the other person doesn't want that. But I think that needs to be made clear.
I actually was really, I admired how honest it was. I think a lot of the times people are dishonest about what they want, and this kind of issue comes up later in the marriage, and then maybe you guys would know as a married couple what that is. I don't mean to speak out of turn, but it was definitely something I had never learned about.
Yeah, but
before.
what is like, is there room for change? Like sometimes you don't know what you're agreeing to. It's not like a legal contract, right? Like, let's say this was set in good faith 5 or 10 years ago. And then through the journey, you discover, well, this is not exactly how I like it. And then what?
Well,
I think that I'm not saying that it has to be a date. This year you will work, next year you will work, then you have freedom. I'm just saying that I think that the blueprint should be made, and that the same thing happened to you, that down the line you wanted to become a comedian and it worked out that dad lost his job at the time. So I think that naturally there will be events that bring you from one place to another.
What? No, hold on. Your dad and I never had an agreement like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You
It
will
was a
not
choice
work.
that your mother made to
Yeah,
stay at home,
we
which
kind of-
worked out for us, but it was not like a decision.
Okay, but
in
was it
fact,
just-
she had
were
a
you guys-
job. She had
were
a
you guys-
job when I was in business school.
Were you guys both oblivious to the fact that one of you guys was primarily making money and the other one was
Yeah,
working
pretty
at
much.
home?
We were completely oblivious. Yes,
No,
it was
we
not
were
like
not
a,
oblivious.
What does that even mean?
No,
How does that make any
what?
sense?
No.
no, meaning like it was not like a arrangement of some kind that we sat down.
It's not
Okay,
like
but I'm just
yes.
saying that it was clear that one of you guys had one job and the other one had a different job. Was
Yes.
that clear? Then that's all I'm saying, that there has to be some sort of
But as a
blueprint.
natural evolution of how things panned out,
Yes.
as opposed to a contractual agreement, the way your sister is describing
This
for
was
her
an
cousin.
agreement. Yeah, she said that the marriage would not have proceeded if she had not agreed
Okay,
to
hold
these
on. I
terms.
want to make it clear that I'm not saying that has to be what it is. I'm just saying that I don't think it's ridiculous to have that conversation.
The way your sister is describing it, and correct me if I'm wrong in understanding it, if now 15 years have passed and the woman in question, your cousin, decided that this is not the life for her and she actually wants to work, that flexibility will not be there.
Yes.
Okay. So that's very different.
And
right?
Dad, you recently said said a quote to me that I have been thinking a lot about how you marry. What is it that you marry multiple people throughout the marriage or something?
It's not my quote. I told you when I said that quote that it's from a woman that I like to read from.
Yeah.
Remember, I said it wasn't my quote, but yeah, what she said, I forget her name, but what she said in her book and says it often in different, chats and so on and so forth, that you marry the same person multiple times in the same life. Your mother and I are on our second marriage, for example, as an example.
Do you feel that way, Mom?
I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know who this woman is. I don't know what this book is. People, yes, the situations change. Like if you are married or not, if you're with somebody for X number of years, life goes through many iterations. I think this woman wants to try to make it into like some philosophical thing.
We're going to take a quick pause to let you all know this episode is brought to you by Mathnasium. Veer, it's back to school season soon. How are you feeling?
I'm super excited, but it definitely is hard to find ways to study alone efficiently.
Well, I'm so glad that there are amazing resources like Mathnasium, which has been trusted for over 20 years by parents around the world to bring curriculum that all parents have been able to trust. What do you like about Mathnasium?
What's so great about Mathnasium is that the curriculum is personalized, which means that while having fun, you also learn the math concepts that you need to succeed.
It's amazing because it meets students where they're at, whether they need help with basic skills or they want to be more advanced and try even more incredible concepts. It personalizes and tailors to whatever the student needs in that moment.
Mathnasium is also an accelerated program, which means that while mastering the math skills that you're already good at, you learn new ones.
Listeners can get a free assessment at Mathnasium to start the school year off strong.
Go to mathnasium.com and find a center near you to redeem your free assessment.
That's mathnasium.com.
Also, you yourself change, In 5 years, you will be completely different than who you are right now. So you also have to relearn who you are every 5 years. I actually read a fascinating article about managing finance. And managing finance was like you yourself and what you prioritize in your life when it comes to money will change every 5 years. Who you become, what you're interested in, what you spend money on, how you invest, where you go to invest, what market you invest in, all of those decisions get changed because you as a person change every 5 years, and you have to be very knowledgeable about that. So not only are you marrying someone new every 5 years, but you yourself are becoming someone new every 5 years. So it's like two new people are married, but it's the same couple, right? And it's a very interesting thought. But my question is to Daadi is, I'm really curious about this now because I didn't even know you guys had this conversation. Is not would you make that sacrifice? Because I can safely assume you would not make that sacrifice. But more just, do you think that American people should be more susceptible to making that sacrifices or making sacrifices that large? And are you willing to make a sacrifice that large, not being the same sacrifice, but any sacrifice that big?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, my cousin's very happy with the life she's chosen, and I have a lot of respect for that. I actually think she's a lot happier than a lot of women in America. Like, her baseline happiness levels are very good. But life is different. I don't know if life is just about happiness. I don't know what I want. I don't know if happiness is the thing that I crave. Really,
That's fair.
I wonder.
That's really weird. What could you be craving if not happiness?
Well, some people say, like Baya said this to us, and I've been thinking about it a lot, is he was thinking, what does he want from life? Does he want to be somebody like Isaac Newton who will be remembered in 500 years, or does he want to be somebody who just is happy in life and lives every day with happiness? It's just, what do you want?
Yeah, and I think she is.
Bridge, what was the conclusion of that?
Why are
Yeah,
you
what
worried
is
about the
it? What
conclusion
is
of
it?
that?
Well, because it's something you were wondering. So what have you decided? What do you
I think
want?
just to give a little more context to what I was saying was I had come across this thing and it made me think a lot about how you really do only get one life, right? Like, you really do only get one life. That's the truth. And honestly, it's difficult to think about because we all wish we could live, or a lot of us wish that we could live longer or decide how our life turns out, but we can't, right? So you could chase your whole life being a banker and passing away, having a great life, great family, great money. No one knows your name. Your legacy is just from your family living on, unless you become a Warren Buffett type banker. But the point is, there's so many different avenues for what you can take in life. So just evaluating risk versus your only life is another important factor to consider. Because on this podcast, and if you've watched our podcast, we've talked about risk so much, maybe more than money at this point. And I think just something else that I think about now is I really do get only one life. Do I want to live my entire life knowing I've never done something just because it makes me. Am I not doing something because it makes me feel better?
Is this
than
about
somebody
to go
else?
into the football thing again?
No.
Are you about to say that
No, not at all. It really is just like it really is just me thinking, am I not doing this because it makes me feel better than somebody else? Is somebody doing this? Sometimes people do stuff and I'm like, wow, that's such an idiotic thing to do. But then I think, wow, like they're really gonna do that once, and if they never do it again, great. But they only have one life. They should understand how to spend it. And I really don't care what other people do anymore. Like everyone really does have one life. They can choose how to spend it. As long as you're not harming other people, obviously. Don't spend your life hurting other people.
Well, on that topic, on this topic, I want to bring up religion. Because I actually think that this is what you're describing, Bridge, is very intertwined with how religion laces through India. We went to the most famous temple in Mumbai. Can you say the name, Mom?
Siddhivinayak.
Siddhivinayak. Okay. And I think that might have been one of the highlights actually of my life at this specific age that I'm in. It was so crowded. The temple was so crowded. You walked in, first of all, there's security, they check everything to make sure that you are a safe individual. Then there's a long line to get in. As you finally get into the area that's not even the temple, there's a long hall to the actual temple. The hall has all this dessert, fresh flowers, vendors of all sorts of kinds, and it is such a communal gathering of people. Everybody knows each other's names, and then there's a long line to get into the actual temple, and then once you're finally in the temple, a priest touches your forehead and you give him flowers and offerings in exchange for him to give you a scarf, a garland. Veer's going to bring it actually right now because he saved his. I also saved mine, and I felt so in touch.
Here, look, this is the thing from the temple.
Why did you keep it, Veer?
I'm not religious,
You're a little religious.
I'm not devoted to any single religion, is what I want to say.
What?
But like I
He did
believe
a whole thing on religion. He said that multiple times.
I believe in God, but I'm not devoted to a religion. But I just thought that this would be.
Yes, you are. Okay.
I just thought that this would be a cool thing to keep because we're probably not going to go back to India for a little bit. So, yeah.
The priest gave this to you at the temple?
Yeah, and he blessed it. He blessed it and gave it to me.
Okay.
I think people are happier in India as well because there is this communal aspect that is missing from the West and from the US. And it ties into a larger theme of hospitality that we'll get into, I'm sure. But it was so enriching. I felt so part of something bigger. I asked for something in the temple. We'll see if I get it. But I don't know on what grounds I asked for it, but I just felt like asking.
That's the point. In Hindu religion, you don't need grounds. You can ask anyway.
Like, I don't know if I've done enough as a human being to have earned what I asked, but I did ask.
There was one funny moment at the temple that I think that Veer, you want to describe what happened? Because I think it's really funny and it's worth noting.
Oh, the shorts?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we went to the temple, me and my brother were both wearing a pair of khaki shorts because, well, I feel like we can both agree that khaki shorts is meant to be a little bit more formal than athletic wear. So we thought we were already dressing formally. But then we went to the temple, and they basically, once we were there, told us that we have to be wearing pants that cover our full legs and not just up to our knees. So they basically gave us a piece of cloth, literally just a plain empty piece of cloth, and we had to tie it around our waists until we were done with the whole blessing and ceremony stuff.
At least they had that option for you so that you don't have to go back and change. Because here they just send you back, and I just hate that. Like you go to a club and they need a jacket and they don't have a jacket for you, and they just send you back. So I do like the fact that they at least had a make-away solution for you.
No, they were prepared.
They made us wear lungis.
Lungis. Yeah, they just made them tie lungis and,
That's
they
cool.
had a requirement, but they had a workaround. I mean, India that way it does have a lot of workarounds. Like a lot of things don't work, but then there are all these alternative workarounds that keep things moving.
How did it feel, Zarna, how did it feel like a businesswoman? Were you able to conduct business?
I was very impressed with the punctuality of everything in Mumbai. Every meeting pretty much started on time. Some started ahead of time. Uh, I will say again, I will get flamed for it, but where it wins on punctuality and wins on efficiency, there was a lot of efficiency. We were able to book one room and get a lot done through the room. They get a lot of points in the
Execution.
the execution of the meetings and all, but the originality was not there.
Yes.
There was so many meetings where literally we have to do this trend video, we have to do this trending music. All they were doing was looking up trends online, and I built a business, we've built an entire business, never ever having using trend videos, never ever having leaned on trending music. So that was a little bit jarring for me, because and of course, because we had so many meetings, almost everybody was using the same trends. I mean, I had to constantly tell them, we don't need any of this stuff, guys. Like, you don't have to lean on these things to make your voice heard and to create something original. But there was just no emphasis on originality at all, because they thought I was crazy. They're like, but these are the videos and sounds that are trending. Why wouldn't you just use them? So, where I thought the efficiency in managing the actual meetings was outstanding, and I don't know, this is a India thing or a Mumbai thing. In Mumbai, every meeting happened professionally. People showed up, they were prepared, they had equipment. First of all, that was the other thing. A 1 minute video reel, 5 6 people shooting it. My god, the first day we did it, I thought I was losing my mind, because we pretty much, even to this day, shoot everything ourselves on a video with a selfie camera. We edit it quickly and we upload it. There's just no other human being involved. But in India, every single meeting was 5 people more than you expected. So I was a little surprised by that. But it was pleasantly surprising that things happened on time, because you would think, through the rain, through the monsoon, through the traffic, through all the variables that they have to negotiate, that everything would run late, but that was not the case.
Should we talk about driving?
Wait, I wanted to say something. Speaking of efficiency, the least efficient part and a negative part of India was that the traffic was ridiculous. I can't even lie. The traffic was one of the first things we noticed. And it wasn't even the type of traffic that was caused by cows, because cows are sacred in India. It was just regular, everyday traffic was crazy. And then add that to 100 bikes trying to go in between every car, and a monsoon, and there's thousands of people on every sidewalk. It's just crazy to deal with. Even on the way back from the airport, I think we were in traffic for at least 10 minutes, and there were probably multiple parts where we just did not move at all. So traffic is one thing in India that definitely caught
Mumbai
my
for
eye.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I will say though, it is really cool how they managed to fit cars in spaces I never thought cars could fit before. You know, I was sitting in the passenger, I don't know what it's called, shotgun scene, if you will. And so I really saw, and I love to drive, so I was really paying attention to how driving was going on. And if there is if there is enough space for your car to barely fit in any sort of spot on the road, your driver or whatever, whoever the driver is, and all the other drivers, they will take up that space in no time, no question. And one thing I was wondering the whole trip, which I finally understood at the end, was, why is everyone honking? Okay, I have a question. Why are they honking? Everyone is sitting in the same traffic. Like, what is honking gonna accomplish? And why? Like, why even honk? You know the car in front of you is sitting in the exact same position you are. So why are you honking it? What is that going to do? And then I finally learned at the end of the trip that people honk in India to signal. You know how we have like yellow signals to show, oh, we're going left, oh, we're going right, or I'm turning, or I'm going this way. They don't use those signals. They honk. So they'll honk, look at you in the eye, and say, hey, I'm going this way, I'm going this way. And then they'll go that way, right? It's so weird. It's so, the cars have signals, to be clear. They just use honk instead. I don't know why honking is more effective than signals, but I guess honking is the way that they move, because there's really no traffic lights and there's no crosswalks or anything. So I guess you have to be that alert, but
It's safe.
Yeah, no,
I was going to say, it's safe to say that loneliness is not an issue in India.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think
that's
there's
the thing
an
when you have
emphasis.
1.4 billion
No, but
people.
that's what I'm saying with Bridge, this whole communication style, right?
Yeah.
There's no day where you're only speaking to, where you speak to 0 people or 1 or 2 people. You are speaking to thousands of people in a day.
Statistically, it's 1.4 billion people. United States has 350 million people. The geographic area is 1/4 of the United States. So in a quarter of the space, they have 4 times as many people. So of course, that's going to have an impact in terms of how people sort of navigate
No,
it.
I think, look, the idea that silence needs to happen during the day is just not a thing in India.
Yes.
Everybody's screaming, honking, bells are happening, the temple
Yeah, that's
bells,
so
the
true. That's a
mosque,
good observation.
there's music, there's all kinds of things happening because people are living and nobody is like, ooh, be quiet. Like, it's just not how you live in India.
Also, it's a very young country, right? Don't forget the median age is under 30. It's the youngest country in the world in terms of its median age.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I felt that.
Well,
for sure.
the one thing I did notice, another thing that I did notice in India is that the vendors, a lot of them that we worked with, definitely were thinking, these guys are from America. We should charge them 3 times, 4 times, 10 times. I mean, the constant desire to like whittle us down with money was a little exhausting because we knew what things cost. We knew what the price of things is. And it felt like extreme. I mean, even the people that we hired to work with us in India literally were like, and to their own detriment, to be honest, because we were about to create long-term working relationships with a lot of them. But how would you ever do that? You would never trust somebody whose entire intention is to take your money away from you. There was not a sense of we're building this together. And we were already overpaying, way overpaying to begin with. But even
Well,
that wasn't enough. The greediness that I felt with some of the vendors that I worked with, I was thinking that this is so short sighted. There's no way. We could have created a beautiful, long working relationship where you can earn money, I can have business done. But now you close that door entirely because all you made me feel is how you can extract the most money from me every single day.
Well, can I make a point on that? I think in America, it's very common when you're given an unusual opportunity for work to know if I do a good job at this job, this will lever into something else, right? Like American people are very familiar with that, especially people who are newer to the workforce. They're excited to provide lots of value so that they can figure out how they can lever into something new. And that is what makes business in America so powerful because people are original in the way that they conceive of how work works.
We're going to take a quick pause to let you all know this episode was brought to you by BetterHelp.
Hold on. Didi's worst habit is that she's always spilling her problems in the family group chat.
But I have to talk to somebody.
Spilling your problems in a group chat and talking to a real therapist are not the same thing.
Well, I guess that's what's so great about BetterHelp.
BetterHelp has over 30,000 licensed therapists in the US.
It also has an excellent matchmaking program that has been trusted over 10 years to match any patient to a licensed therapist. What do you like about BetterHelp?
Well, all you have to do is fill out a short questionnaire and BetterHelp will match you with a therapist that can fulfill your needs.
And you can pause your subscription at any time.
Not only that, but it's fully online, so no more excuses.
As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise.
Find the one with BetterHelp.
Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Zarna.
That's betterhelp.com/Zarna.
Now back to the episode.
I think because there's so few opportunities in India, or I don't want to say few opportunities, in relative to America, where there are more working opportunities than there are in India, it feels like there's this scarcity where if you finally have the opportunity to make a dollar, it's like this dollar needs to be stretched in the way that in every way imaginable. And I'm grateful that in America, it's not like that because that's not the way that you build something big. Now, that's something that we got really lucky access to. Bridge, Veer, and I got to meet some of the most important business people in India. We met Karan Johar, who runs the most important production company in India, just a legendary director. We also met Manish Malhotra, who owns like the largest designer brand in India. I noticed so much from those experiences. They were so generous in what they taught us. In case Bridge and Veer, do you guys want to jump in with anything you learned from them specifically? Because they are so iconic.
Yeah, I think the one major thing I learned actually came from Karan Johar's right hand man and partner, Apurva Mehta. He's the finance guy at Dharma Productions, which is the major film production company. And he taught me, I was so confused on why American companies didn't go to India more. Because if India has a 1.4 billion people, a lack of huge companies outside of the Ambanis, and it's such an open market almost for the amount of people and opportunity you can have if you make it in India. So I was so confused. Why aren't they going there? And then mom told me they do go there and then they fail and come back. But then Apurva uncle, he explained to me that these companies can't identify with the citizens at all. They have no idea what the citizens in India value over the citizens in America. For example, we talk a lot about community. People in America don't value community as much as India, which we've already described. But for companies trying to sell in a similar way they're doing in America, it doesn't work because the people don't buy it. They don't care as much when it's so individualistic. They don't care when they're not represented by the media teams. They see through all the scams and gimmickry that a lot of American companies use on us to mess with our dopamine to make sure we're more addicted to a company. I will say one huge thing I noticed was that dopamine is not nearly as much of an issue, I would say, in India. People are not as addicted to different things that, well, of course, some people are addicted to gambling and drinking, but of the people that we met, which were of the people who are in better circumstances, they were not nearly suffering with like phone addiction, getting addicted to different companies or different desserts or whatever. They were a lot more free, I would say, when it comes to that. And when I look at my friends and Veer's friends and the way we live, our entire lives are almost run by dopamine. When we wake up, we open Instagram first thing in the morning. All of us do that, right? We open up X 100 times throughout the day. We go to different places to make ourselves feel better. I would say that that's not as much of a thing in India, which
What
is
do, what do you attribute that to, Bridge?
I think growing up, a lot of people were a lot more. I think first of all, just overall strictness. You know, people weren't able to go on their phones for a very long time in India when they were young, right? Most people growing up didn't get phone access until maybe when they moved
Okay,
out
but
of the
hold
house.
on. That's true, but the issue with that is that it's caused them to fall behind in technology.
100%.
They are 100% behind in technology. Well, any country is compared to America, but just generally, they are definitely behind in technology.
Yeah.
But I also think that it's not just that. I think part of the reason we all want that dopamine hit is because we're all alone in America. Whereas you're going to be surrounded by people in India, even if not guests and friends, just the people who work in your home, the people you say hello to every morning. Like, you don't just get up in silence in India. I mean, the amount of noise, once it's 5 or 6 a.m., just the amount of hustle and bustle you feel around you, part of why we're all on our phones is because it's so silent that you're uncomfortable in it. But
By
it's
the
the
way,
exact opposite in India.
One thing,
guys, how was it meeting my mom?
oh my
All three of you met
god,
her.
yeah, we met Daadi for the first time in a long time. She was so kind. She was so happy, honestly. It was so great to see her after some time. I asked her, like, what do you think of all of, mom's success and all of the things that she's doing? And to be honest, I was so surprised. She said that, when mom was young and getting married to dad, she always said, your mom has always been brilliant, has always been very smart. And the fact that she had so much respect for mom's intellect, I was really taken aback by that.
Because you don't have that respect for her.
No, I obviously have that respect, but more so, I was just pretty surprised that there was such a mutual understanding of what was going on. I think a lot of people see all the mother-in-law jokes and they're like hyperventilating. Like,
Of course, you left what she bought for me. The only thing you left back was the cashews that she bought for me to bring with the three of you.
Dad,
Neither one.
if
What?
you knew the
You could have
chaos,
come on the Indian trip.
Yeah.
Like, if you had been on the India trip, we had a suitcase that was literally. I walked into my mom and my sister's room. I thought that suitcase was gonna explode if they tried to close it.
Yeah.
Like it was genuinely insane.
I mean, it's okay. Of course, I'm not upset about that. I was just making the point that the only thing that got left back is what my mother bought for me.
I've always really loved hanging out with Daadi.
The thing is that it's always like this, right? When you're not involved from the outside, everything is the only thing. It's a little thing. It's like, it's a very Indian thing to be like, can you make a little bit of this? Can you do this one little thing? Because if you're only seeing your role from the outside as a visitor coming in, you're like, well, this is the only thing. We literally had 50,000 things happen. But your role and your mom's role is limited to coming in for 1 minute, doing their little thing, and then exiting. And then they all wonder, they're like, but it was one little thing. Why couldn't they do it? And I'm not even upset about it. It is just the state of what it is. It's like when you're not integrated into the fabric of what's going on, and also when you're not ever doing the thing. Like, it would be a different matter if you were going to India for a big massive business trip, and then my brother is like, make sure this happens, make sure this happens, and then you will know how many brain cells have to process to make sure that this one little thing happens while the 10 other things are also happening. But your mom also, they came and went in 2 days, the days that work for them. And, they came and left whatever they were trying to do. There was no sense of all that was going on. I mean, we did a live show with 1,000 people in the middle of the monsoon with an orange alert where people couldn't even make it to the venue.
One thing I learned from the show. So we've done our live podcast show across the country. We've done it in London. We've done it in India. And our show has really improved every single time we did it. Like, I would say the first time we did it, I would give myself like a B- personally. But over time, I felt much more comfortable on stage talking about issues. It felt more familiar. I knew what would rile up the audience. Like, you really do improve with every iteration. But performing for India was a completely different situation and experience than any other place we had ever performed. For example, we do a lot of business motivation conversation on stage. And that conversation really hits. It really hits with the American audiences. It really hits with the London audiences. I saw people give us like standing ovations for some of the things we spoke about specific to business and self-help. Self-help, that thread of conversation, I could see people in the audience of India tuning out. They were tuning out. And I have no observation or further analysis on that, but that happened. Do you guys know
No,
why
but
that
I know
happened?
exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking
for
about. I
sure.
think in India, they want more emotional stuff. They want more like touchy feely stuff. It's like
They like
when
the
you
Bollywood movies.
I mean, it's true. Like, I mean, a lot of my interviews, I talk about openly using the M word, but like people don't like using the word money. They don't like using the word afford. They don't like using the word, like I can't do this because it doesn't make business sense. Even when you want to say it doesn't make business sense, you're supposed to like have
Tone
like
it
an
down.
emotional reason around it,
Yeah.
like almost make it seem like, oh no, we would have done it, but I can't take a flight to Delhi because it's raining. Like, actually, it's not making business sense, but you can't say that. But anyway, it was all in all an outstanding trip. We learned so much. We learned that so many things are unite us than divide us. We learned that business is business, and no matter all the little knickknacks that are different, at the end of the day, India and America are both cultures that are really working hard and trying to A, make a difference in humanity, and B, move forward. They're both progressive cultures. More women are working today than they did 30 years ago. That is a fact. More women are in powerful positions in India, running like everyday things. So it was an outstanding
One
experience.
thing,
And
can I say one more thing?
yeah,
The whole family business thing, that concept and that archetype is 100% owned, created, and facilitated by India. And I think that is something that we should just also end this episode talking about and attributing to. So many people reach out to us about, we want to start a business with our family member and this and that. And the truth is that India made the blueprint on that. And that was very clear to us when we
I mean,
were there.
the community that your mom comes from is famous for that, the
Yeah.
Gujarati community.
So I was really inspired by that. And it's not, and we should bring more of that and learn from that in America.
yeah, I agree. The family business and the business of building with each other and supporting each other through thick and thin is definitely a very Indian concept. It's part of the community lifestyle, and it was a lot of fun. Even observations aside, it was just fun. It was fun to be surrounded by so many people with all that chaos. Felt joyful. I don't know. It's crazy. Everybody was
Yeah.
almost kind of sing songy. Even the waiters and the restaurants were like, you want tea, you want a different kind of tea, you want this in your tea. It was a lot of like, what can we do to make you happy, what can we do to to appease you, and which is, you're not gonna see that in America. But we would love to hear your thoughts and your opinions on India, or on travels, observations you've made during travel about being American or being from outside looking at America. We'd love to hear it all. Flights to India were great. British Airways, shout out to British Airways, flying through London, through all the airspace restrictions and all. It was totally fine, and we can't wait to go back. So please, as we end every episode with a round of good grades with Gargs, where each Garg assigns an A grade to another Garg, so too this episode, we will assign an A grade to a Garg who brought the winning moment of the episode, education, entertainment, whatever it may be. So who wants to go first?
I'm gonna
first.
give. Okay, you can go.
I'll give my A grade to Veer. I thought that he made a really smart observation about how extending my dopamine point into understanding why they're behind in technology, specifically AI. A lot of the companies we talked to all said that they're struggling with integrating AI into their workforces and improving their workflow because of AI. And I really do think that connection to the dopamine connection makes a lot of sense from Veer's perspective. Of the strictness has a lot of pros, but it also has a lot of cons.
Okay, cool. Reed, you want to go next?
My A grade, I'm gonna give it to Daadi, because I thought that her point on the self-help hitting in America and Europe but not in India was a good observation.
I'm gonna give my A grade to Veer because I am grateful he brought up the infrastructure point. We take so much for granted in the West, like so much. Oh my gosh, we have roads that make us productive and they've been around for a long time. They're in India, it's like a big deal when a new road is built, and it's just food for thought.
I'll give my A grade to Bridge for saying he's always liked to spend time with my mother.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes. And who am I going to give my A grade to? I don't know. It was a very overwhelming trip. I would say my A grade on the margin goes to all three kids who really, really rallied the entire 10 days, through the weather, through the food, through the morning, night, all the layovers and everything. They had a very cheerful attitude, a very open-minded perspective on like things that they were seeing, observations that they were making. Very patient. I mean, I was losing my cool constantly, but the kids were very patient through things that were not working, things that were not going perfectly. So for the first time, I think ever, I'm going to split my A grade between all three kids, because I do think that they deserve an honorable mention for just going through a very complicated. It was a very, very excruciatingly busy trip. We were working throughout, from morning to night we were working, and things were going wrong constantly, not because of other people but because of life around us. And I really applaud that the kids kind of rallied and got in and hung in there with me. But we would love to hear from you what your experience is from recent travels, whether to India or anywhere else, or what you thought of our episode. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? What is it like when your mother-in-law comes to visit and leaves a little something for you to take back to the husband? Any and all of it, all thoughts are welcome. Please tune in to the next episode. We're going to continue this conversation. And if you hate on me because I said something about Indian women, sure, I'm hearing you out. I'm hearing you. I'm reading all the comments. We're all in there. Get in there. Like, share, and subscribe this episode. Let's bring more people into this world. And until we meet again, everybody say bye.
Bye.